final clue. This is the magic twinkly tree. We're well on our way now to finding Baggy Hi-Fi Land. Greetings cats and kittens, welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. As you may have seen from the title of this video, it's called Listen with Baggy, Module 1. Why module? Probably a homage to those lovely drab 70s Open University videos. And why Listen with Baggy? Well, up until now, I've never really done VC videos where I'm just picking records out of my collection and ones that I've been listening to and talking about them. I don't know if you maybe saw a video that Sherv did a few months ago. His channel's called Julius Jabbar, and he was just talking about the records that he has on the floor, meaning the ones that he was currently playing. I think many of us do, pick a few records off the shelf and then put them on the floor, and they're the ones that we are currently listening to. And maybe as an antidote to probably maybe too much record buying lately and not enough listening, I thought I would just pick a few records out that I hadn't listened to in a long time. It's not a new idea, but as I say, I've not made a video of this type before. Now, my records aren't really on the floor anymore. I don't take them off the shelf and stick them on the floor like I used to, because the other week I was in IKEA and they were selling off, I think they were selling it off in a sale, these boxes, which are only about £1. And you see, there's the cardboard self-assembly boxes, and I've got 2 of these, and so they are boxes for my current listening. And that's what this video is. I'm going to do a series of these. I'm going to pick 6 records which I've been listening to lately out of my collection, not recently purchased, records that I've maybe had for maybe decades, and have a re-listen to them and see what I thought, because our perception of records does change with time. So the first one is by the Feelies, American band. This is their second album, The Good Earth. I think it's the only album I have by them, but I should really get more. Now, this is a band who I think began sort of in the very early 80s with a kind of a new wavy, quirky, strumming sound. And I think their first album was released on Stiff Records in America. But this is their second album. It's from 1986. It's a bit more restrained. They're definitely in the lineage of sort of the Velvet Underground, especially the Velvet Underground's third album, that kind of dry, rhythmic, strumming, Lou Reedy sound. And in fact, they did support Lou Reed, I believe, on tour sometime in the 80s. Not overly tuneful. It's more to do with the rhythm, really, and as I say, that very kind of dry sound without any reverb. But so listening to this again, I really enjoyed it. It's on the Coyote label, which I don't think I have any other records on Coyote. From 1986. There's the label. So yeah, that's the one I did enjoy again. There's the band. They had a kind of a look that would you'd see a lot during the late 80s and early 90s, that kind of college rock flannel shirt look. And they probably had quite an influence on a lot of those college rock bands. But I think the Feelies are a quality version of that kind of band. So that's the Feelies with the Good Earth. I enjoyed that one. The second album that I plucked out of the shelf and put in my IKEA record box is a Sunshine Pop album from the 60s. This is the Sunshine Company. I think this is their second album. It's from 1968, self-titled. It seems every record company in the States in the sort of mid to late 60s were looking for a band to rival the success of the Mamas and the Papas, sort of a harmony sunshine pop band with maybe a few psychedelic touches. And that's what this is. This is a sunshine pop album with some psychedelic touches. It's good. I hadn't listened to it in quite a long time. It's on the which label is it? The Imperial label. It's a nice inner sleeve with thumbnails of albums from the time. There's the label, IR label. A mixture of quite sort of sappy, very tuneful songs, in fact, about sunshine and that kind of thing. In fact, there's a song called Look Here Comes the Sun. There's a few tracks that has a few bits of fuzz tone guitar. I'm going to throw in some needle drops in this video as well. So that's a quite solid sunshine pop album, original copy from 1968, The Sunshine Company. This third one is from that period in the very early 90s, late 80s, when every other band seemed to be wanting to be sort of neo psychedelic, and this band, the Sundial, were no exception. But this is a really very good example of that genre of sort of psychedelic revival in the late 80s and early 90s. This is actually from 1990. It's called Other Way Out, and I think it was self-released on the Tangerine label. There we are. And I remember reading about this band, the Sundial, in the fanzine at the time called Ptolemaic Terrascope. This lasted for quite a few years, and it kind of solidly focused on 60s psychedelia and also psych revival. The band Sundial may even still be going, but they kind of went from this sort of Syd Barrett-esque style into more kind of shoegazy territory, and even kind of sort of indie, 90s indie sound, but always with a lot of guitar as well. And there's lots of guitar on this one. Gary Ramon is the main guitarist, and he's the main member of the Sundial. But out of all these Sundial records I've heard, this is the strongest and probably the most psychedelic. So glad to still have this one in my collection from back in 1990 when I first read about it in the zine Ptolemaic Terrascope. So I'm going to have some needle drops now and then be back with you after those with 3 more records that I've plucked out of my collection for this Listening with Baggy video.
Wait for the change in the weather with her. where children love to play. In the new horizon, the mountains turn to gold. Wait for daylight as your liquid worlds unfold. Watch them dripping off the cloud from inside. Images you see float across the sky.
So what's next in the box? This next one is a compilation, Acid Visions, and it's a comp of Texan punk and psychedelic 60s recordings. The state of Texas, of course, produced the 13th Floor Elevators, but many other bands from that time, they were maybe not as, didn't have as much of a recording career as the Elevators. But on here, there's some great obscurities, except Johnny Winter is on here with quite a psyche track called Birds Can't Row Boats. It's released on the marvellous Vox label, which has been responsible for a lot of great compilations and also reissues of psychedelic bands and garage bands. I have quite a few of these kind of albums in my collection, but don't very often play them, so I wanted to dig this one out, and it is a strong one. There's some brilliant pieces of snotty teenage garage psych on here, including the Stoics, the Things, the Pandas, Neil Ford and the Ramadars, Roy Head and the Great Believers. Real obscure stuff, but real exciting psych, garage, punk, whatever you want to call it. But this is a great one, and I have volume 2 as well, so I might dig that one out to listen to again in the next few weeks. Now, very much of a contrast by way of a very, couldn't be any more contrasting really. I'm going to show you a record by an English artist who was active in the 80s and 90s. She's an English singer-songwriter who seems to have sort of disappeared now. I think she maybe writes books now. Virginia Astley. And this is her album, Hope in a Darkened Heart. Now, Virginia Astley came from a very musical family. Her dad was Edwin Astley, composer of TV themes, including The Saint and Danger Man, and I think Department S as well, so came from a great background. So Virginia Astley's music is rather pastoral, maybe a little bit twee, but I have long been a fan of her music. She was really successful in Asia and Japan, but really more of a cult artist here. She recorded the ambient album on Rough Trade called From Gardens Where We Feel Secure, and that one fetches very high prices now, and it was sort of an evocation of English summertime with lots of sort of pastoral piano and birds twittering and lots of nice ambient sounds. This one is, I would say it's not entirely successful, because quite about a third, or maybe more than a third, of the album is quite electronic backing. Maybe they thought she would cross over into the charts. And Ryuichi Sakamoto does the backing tracks to Virginia's songs on here. Also, David Sylvian is on here, so I think they were aiming for greater chart success than she ever really achieved. But the really strongest tracks are the ones that aren't produced by Ryuichi Sakamoto, the ones that use more acoustic instruments like piano and oboes and that kind of thing. As I say, it is rather twee, and it's very, very, very English, but I do have a real soft spot for Virginia Astley, and parts of this album are really brilliant, and I'm trying to get all of her releases, but this is a really, really good one. If you ever see it, I think I got this one fairly cheap. It's in fantastic condition. What label is it on? I think it's on, let's have a look. Yeah, she was on Warner Brothers by that stage. Again, as I said earlier on, I think they were hoping she would be more successful than she ever was. But that kind of thing happens. So that's Virginia Astley. Now, our final record of the 6 on this Listen with Baggy video is one I remember buying at the time because I liked the Seattle band who are called the Green Pajamas, who I think are still going, and they are quite a kind of acid, folky, psych revival band. And one of their albums that I really like, I think it's from the early recordings, is called The Summer of Lust. And that's a great one if you ever see it. It's very sort of jangly, retro 60s influenced. Now, Jeff Kelly is the main songwriter and singer in the Green Pajamas, and he has put out quite a lot of solo albums since the early 90s. This is one of them. This is Coffee in Nepal by Jeff Kelly. I think this was originally released as a cassette release, but this is released on a quite unusual label. It's a Greek label called Didi Records. It's funny how these sort of psychedelic artists are supported by unusual countries. It's the Didi label. So this is much more acoustic than the Green Pajamas, very much sort of lyrical, songwriting, melancholic. Jeff Kelly has a whiny voice which can become quite irritating in parts. Some of the songs are a little bit schmaltzy as well, but some of the other ones are quite moving as well though. But yeah, it kind of echoes as well of an incredible string band at times, you know, that kind of Eastern instruments and sitar. But one, if you like that kind of slightly whimsical, melancholic psych revival stuff. So yeah, quite a lot of psychedelia this time round. That's what I've been picking out. Maybe the kind of thing I listen to in the summer, although it's a very drizzly afternoon here in northeast England. But yes, that's what I've been listening to lately. That's what has been in my IKEA record box. So that's the first module finished of Listen with Baggy. There will be more in the future as I try to listen to more records rather than buy too many records, but I'm afraid I have been buying quite a lot this week anyway. So there will be a vinyl finds video coming soon as well. And so that's it for now, and hope you're all keeping well, and bye for now.
Walk away, baby, run away, baby. It's been another awful day. There's giant ants out there. The moon is red, but it's fading away, and we're scared, so scared. Our laboratory safe and warm, and hidden out of sight. And once we're there, we'll kiss and hug in the blue light. We're gonna work on a formula. We have the world to defend. If we don't come up with a formula, well then we've got the formula.